Bible prophecy is active and unfolding daily. Zechariah 12, Isaiah 17, Psalm 83, Ezekiel 38. Here is what the LameStream Media is not telling you.
Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. From the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, Hamas has chosen Yahya Sinwar, one of the security prisoners released in the Shalit deal in 2011, as its senior leader in Gaza. Iran chose to take back the reins in Gaza because of the election of Donald Trump as U.S. president. Iran fears, and rightly so, that Trump and Netanyahu will be preparing an aggressive option against Iran. From the New York Times, President Trump jettisoned 2 decades of diplomatic orthodoxy last week by declaring that the U.S. would no longer insist on the creation of a Palestinian state as part of a peace accord between Israel and the Palestinians. Hosting Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel for the first time since becoming president, Trump said he was flexible about how an agreement would look and that he would not be bound by past assumptions. Quote, "I'm looking at 2-state and 1-state formulations. I like the one that both parties like. I'm very happy with the one that both parties like. I can live with either one." Close quote. I can't help it. Trump he amazes me, man. He's so cool because he's not a politician. He's a human being. I can't believe, my friends, the blessing that Elohim has bestowed on America with this man. Momentum for the so-called 2-state solution has faded, not just in Washington, but also in the Middle East, where many Israelis and Palestinians have given up hope or changed their minds about the concept. Netanyahu repeated his 2 prerequisites: that the Palestinians recognize Israel as a Jewish state and that Israel maintain security control over the entire West Bank. He said the obstacle to peace was Palestinian hatred, demonstrated by the payment of salaries to the families of those who carry out terrorist attacks. Then from the Jerusalem Post, the jocular tone between Trump and Netanyahu was significantly different from the heavy, tense tone of most of the Netanyahu-Obama meetings. If you remember, Obama published that picture of him talking on the phone to Netanyahu with his feet right in front of the camera. In other words, putting the bottom of the soles of his feet in Netanyahu's face. The most insulting gesture anyone could possibly make to anyone in the Middle East. Trump is no Obama. Praise Elohim. Trump essentially said that he is open to entertaining ideas and approaches to the diplomatic process other than the ones that have been tried and have failed since the Oslo process began in 1993. Now, Donald Trump has certainly been a big surprise for me, my friends, and I guess for you as well. Honestly, I thought since the earth is headed at breakneck speed toward the 7-year tribulation, the U.S. presidential election results should have produced a worsened state of affairs. In other words, hilarious Clinton should have won. Honestly, I thought that's the way it was going to go because I saw everything degrading and going into greater darkness and wickedness. So I figured Hillary's got to win, But Elohim surprised me, I can tell you. Instead, Donald Trump won. in the face of untold deception and lies from the LameStream Media, this event is still unbelievable to me. Nonetheless, President Trump is our president here in America, and I remind you, my friends, we should be grateful beyond words for this mighty berachah from Elohim on the United States of America. Donald Trump has been given to us, in my opinion, by Elohim himself, my friends. Well, it's not just an opinion, it's a fact. Everyone in office of any kind on the entire planet is put there by Elohim. Wicked, righteous, doesn't matter. Elohim is enforcing his will, and he uses whom he will. But this man, Donald Trump, is more like the founding fathers than anyone we've seen in our lifetimes. He is not a politician. He's a man, and a man who obviously wants to do right by Elohim. Now, I've heard fears being expressed by people. Oh, what if somebody assassinates Donald Trump? Forget that stuff. Nothing is going to happen other than the events that are planned by Elohim. It's all past tense from Elohim's point of view. I have to tell you, I thought many times that Donald Trump could very well be the Antichrist because of his abilities in offering solutions to problems like no one else can offer. After all, the Antichrist, everybody thinks he's a genius because he brings peace and he solves problems, and Donald Trump certainly can fit that bill, more than anyone I've ever known. But if you've been thinking similar thoughts, you can trash them quite comfortably, my friends, because there's one fact about the Antichrist that does not fit Trump. A major fact. And that is that the lawless one, whom everyone likes to refer to as the Antichrist, the lawless one succeeds through deception. He advances everything he does through deception. And Donald Trump is not displaying that quality at all. We live in very curious times, my friends. Turning to wars and rumors of wars, on Tuesday, February 14th, from ARA News, Kurdish female fighters of the Women's Protection Units, YPG, clashed with Turkish army forces near the town of Amud in Syria's northeastern Hasaka governorate. The clashes followed an attempt by the Turkish military troops to enter the Kurdish territory in northeastern Syria, where Turkey continues to build a concrete wall alongside the borderline. On Wednesday, February 15th, from BBC, dozens of fighters have been killed in clashes between two jihadist factions in northern Syria. The battles involved Tahrir al-Sham, formerly an al-Qaeda affiliate, and Jund al-Aqsa, regarded as close to ISIS. And on Saturday, February 18th, from Haaretz, the ISIS-aligned Amaq news agency said that Israel killed 4 members of its Sinai branch in a drone strike. They were planning on firing rockets at Israel. And on Sunday, February 19th, from ABC News, U.S.-backed Iraqi forces launched a large-scale military operation to dislodge ISIS from the western half of Mosul city, which has been in the hands of extremists since 2014. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi announced the start of the operation on state TV, saying government forces were moving to liberate the people of Mosul from Daesh operation and terrorism forever, using the Arabic acronym for ISIS, Daesh. Then on Monday, February 20th, from the Times of Israel, 2 rockets fired from Sinai struck an open field in southern Israel near Gaza. And turning to our review of last week's news, for the first time since I started doing Intifada updates, we don't have an Intifada update. This week is the first. Otherwise, Iran has chosen to take back the reins in Gaza because of the election of Donald Trump as U.S. president. President Trump jettisoned 2 decades of diplomatic orthodoxy last week by declaring that the U.S. would no longer insist on the creation of a Palestinian state as part of a peace accord between Israel and the Palestinians. Kurdish female fighters of the Women's Protection Units clashed with Turkish army forces in Syria's northeastern Hasaka governorate. Dozens of fighters have been killed in clashes between 2 jihadist factions in northern Syria. Israel killed 4 members of its Sinai branch who were planning on firing rockets at Israel in a drone strike. U.S.-backed Iraqi forces launched a large-scale military operation to dislodge ISIS from the western half of Mosul city, and 2 rockets fired from Sinai struck an open field in southern Israel near Gaza. And that, my friends, is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, stay safe. Shalom.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath a naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.